Hi, my name is Jelle, and I'm a professional mental performance consultant. I'm the owner and founder of JWK Mental Performance Training. Today, I'm going to be reacting to some professional soccer team talks. So, in the dressing room, coaches talking to their players and see if we can learn something from the way that professional coaches approach this situation. So, without further ado, let's just dive straight into the first clip.
Listen. Just relax. We'll start, a bit shaky, then we go into the game, okay? And the simple things that we take for granted, we start trying to turn it down. Now your pass into Jamal is on every single time. Now I spoke to you about their number 10, right? He's trying to narrow the pitch. Every time you're here with the ball, and Jamal's here, he hasn't got a clue what he's doing. It's just that one pass takes him out of the game. What's your next action then?
So first of all, just stopping it there, the use of the visual cues is really important. Not everyone, I guess, processes information in the same way. Some people do it through words, some people do it through images. So I really like that he uses that the whiteboard as like an extra tool to kind of visualize what he's doing. That might make it easier for some athletes to understand what he's saying.
Every time it comes to you and you go back, he's thinking, thank God. If he plays you the ball and you touch that way, 9 times out of 10, when you get it, you're going to make his life hell. Do the simple things and do it easy. The press, be patient. They want you and you to come flying out and chase them. Because the midfielder is dropping so deep, he's going right into...
So, two things that are pretty cool there. One, he asks a question from the player. Well, we don't really hear the response, but I like asking questions. I think it's a really good method because it engages people to participate in the conversation rather than them all just going to sort of a state of like, I'm just listening. You actually ask them whether they understand what you're saying and they, I guess they can process that information that more than just I can hear the words. So that's really good. He seems to sort of just demand a general level of commitment on certain things, and that's pretty cool too.
Back four, and they want us to come flying out. They want you to go flying out. The goal comes from us being patient. The goal comes from us being patient. I'm pressing at the right time, winning the ball back, ball out into Jamal, lovely bit of movement, in behind, and we get a goal from it. We've had chances to be goals up, but we're not. It's a good game for us to keep going, but make sure we do it right.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier a little bit about the underlying message here is that what he's saying to his athletes is, I expect better, right? There's a level of expectation that's not being met, and the coach says we need to do the simple things. We basically get your act together and perform at the level. Now, that is a good way of kind of telling people where they should go and stuff like that. But when you also look at the way the players react and look at their body language, those don't look like players that are listening, that are able to take that message to heart in that moment, right? There's some players that, they just sit back and kind of look down. They're annoyed, whether they're annoyed with the coach or with themselves. That doesn't look like a player who's listening in that moment. So, although, and this is always a challenge for anyone in that kind of situation, like the coach, is you have to adjust your communication to what the player can receive or what the athlete can receive in that moment. I don't think that is what just happened. I don't think that athlete actually listened and is going to be able to execute what the coach said. So definitely something to keep in mind. Let's move on to a different one.
Wie viele Fouls haben wir? Wie viele Fouls?
2, 3.
Vielleicht 2. Ja? Es ist nicht ein Freundschaftsspiel. Ja? Es ist ein Champions League Spiel. Wir müssen körperlich auf dem Platz und get fuck in mit Druck, Diese Aktion, manchmal mit Van Dijk. Ja, komm Jungs. Zu viel Respekt für die Gegner. Zu viel Respekt für die Gegner. Ja, es ist mit dem Ball, gegen den Ball und mit Fouls. Zu viel Respekt. Sind sie gut? Ja, sie sind gut. Aber wenn wir spielen wie alles nett und mit Druck ein bisschen hier oder nicht mit einem richtig good tackle oder ein fight, ja, they have to feel us, guys. They have to know we're here to compete. Not just that we're stylistically going to try to play the same way, but we came to play, right? That is what's most important. We're going to talk a little bit about tactics, but we got to step on that field. And when we say Selbstvertrauen, that means will also. Will. Will füreinander und jetzt ist es ich gegen ihn oder euch oder egal. It's us against them. And let's raise our will. Let's raise our competitive fight. Our fight. Okay? So.
Well, obviously this is very intense, right? The coach is coming in and he's basically just verbally attacking his players because they're not aggressive enough on the court or the pitch. There's two things that are interesting about it. First of all, it's the timing, right? A soccer halftime is about 15 minutes. So this seems to be when they just get into the locker room. He mentions at some point, well, we'll talk about tactics after this. I assume that the goal here is to kind of pump up the players and get them feeling more aggressive, feeling more energized. He talks about confidence, right? And kind of like bring the game to them vibe. If you do that and then go and talk about tactics for 5 minutes, I can guarantee you that kind of idea has gone down. Now, maybe at the end of this, the halftime, he talks about it again, but I would have switched it around, first of all. Talk about the tactics, right? Talk about what you can do differently and then get on to the emotional stuff. I think that would make it a little bit more difference. The second thing that, and this is hard to tell just from one clip, but what happens very often, and this kind of message is not uncommon. A lot of coaches, and in a lot of situations, it's a very good message, right? Like, just put in more energy, be more aggressive. I think it's pretty interesting that with aggression, he actually talks about making fouls. I mean, I would never tell people to break the rules on purpose. But that actually points out a problem with these kind of speeches, which is how clear is the message to the athletes. So what I mean with that is that when you tell people to be more aggressive, do they understand where the line is in terms of how aggressive do you want them to be? So for instance, in soccer, right, he says, be more aggressive, make more fouls. Is he then going to be annoyed with a player if they get a yellow or a red card? Is he going to be annoyed with players when they make just like stupid fouls in spots on the court that they shouldn't? Maybe that has been clarified. Maybe it's been clarified what aggression means, but using this kind of like emotional pump up might actually lead to the athletes just think, oh, well, coach wants me to be aggressive and make fouls. And the coach would have to live with players making maybe not great decisions in moments and make fouls that they really shouldn't make. So the danger of a kind of emotional pump up speech or talk like this is that it blurs the line of where you want the athlete to go. And I've seen so many times it's like, be aggressive, and then they do something stupid and it's like, oh, just not that aggressive. I'm like, that doesn't really work. If you tell your athletes to be aggressive, they're going to be aggressive, and you'll have to live with the consequences of that. So I think that's really interesting here, where I would have loved to see what happens on the pitch after this and see the reaction after the game, whether that's a consistent message or whether it's just it just makes it unclear for the athlete.
Today you have to win for one reason. We have to win for David Silva and his girlfriend Jessica. he's suffering the life. When you go out there and you enjoy for him. If we don't go out there and we suffer for him. And remember the situation, today I won the win for David Silva. And his girlfriend and his family. Is that clear?
Okay, so that's interesting. Talking about like we have to win for David Silva. I assume he has some kind of personal problem, maybe injury or something like that makes him not able to be there. Putting as a coach, if you assign motivation to a certain goal for everyone on your team, there's two things that can happen. One, the athletes can think like, yeah, I'm going to be motivated, I'm going to do this, and it can help. The downside is that there might be athletes that think like, oh, if I don't play well now, it shows that I don't care about my teammate. It shows that I don't care about this person that is my friend or that is my colleague. And that might actually work the other way around. The way he brings it is it's very forceful, right? Like you have to play. If we play well, if we enjoy it, then we do it for him. If we suffer, then we suffer for him. Like it's really, there's no way around it of him saying like, this is the way you're going to do it. This is why you're playing. And I would be careful with those kinds of things. Maybe he knows his team and maybe he knows that works, but there might be some athletes that look at this and say, ooh, now I'm actually feeling more anxious and I'm not feeling as confident because it might seem like I don't care about this person. I hope you enjoyed my take on some of these clips and that you learned something about how professional coaches communicate with their players and also how some of them might still be doing some things that aren't completely optimal. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, write in the comments what you thought about it, if you have any questions or if you thought something different about any of the clips, if you thought that I didn't read the situation properly. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again in the next video.